For the first time in New Mexico history, legislation was passed allowing independent and DTS voters to participate in primary elections without changing their registration. Information on the semi-open primary legislation is available at the entrance table or at lwvsfc.org. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Santa Fe County, I want to express our gratitude to the Santa Fe New Mexican for broadcasting our candidate forums this year as a service to the community. Let me introduce Bill Church, the editor of the Santa Fe New Mexican.
Thank you, Hannah. If you want to continue clapping, that's fine. It doesn't happen very often when the local newspaper editor speaks. But first of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters. The New Mexican has had a long history and a partnership with the League of Women Voters, and this information is so vital, particularly at these times when information can be scattered. So thank you so much to all of the volunteers that have been part of the League of Women Voters. I want to thank the candidates. Dressed up, looking nice, ready to face the public. And then the first time disaster hits, there'll be a lot of pressure on them because that's the role of public service. So I appreciate y'all. It's a tough job, and in many ways, we understand what you're going. More than anything else, I want to thank y'all. There's so much going on in the world these days. You've decided on an evening, especially when my beloved Oklahoma City Thunder are playing, to be here because the democracy is so important. And finally, I do want to thank the Food Depot, just such a treasure for northern New Mexico, all the services they provide. And it is a day that I'm glad that you're here, but I also think it's a great day to remember how we can give back. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The League also has the good fortune to work with the Food Depot, whose amazing staff has made this venue available for 3 of our 4 candidate forums this primary season. The Food Depot's Executive Director, Jill Dixon, is also here tonight. Jill, would you like to?
Hi. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. You're sitting in our living room. Thank you so much for being here. It's so important to us to see community show up. I see lots of friendly faces out there. I know many of you are already volunteers or donors. But as you sit and listen to the considerations of the candidates and their responses to your important questions, I'd like to just highlight that, in our opinion, public safety comes down to folks having their needs met. And that is a role that we play in public safety as an organization, is making sure that the basic need of having access to nutritious food is provided for. And that is done through your service as volunteers or donors and active participants in our community. And we know definitely that when times get hard, and often they do, that you stand up with us to make sure that our communities are cared for. So thank you to the League for giving us a chance to host in a food warehouse, which seemed a little strange a year ago. But I hope that you take something away from sitting inside our mission tonight. And if you're curious about what is going on here, please let us know. Our staff are all over the place. We'd be happy to give you a tour, to arrange a volunteer orientation, or make sure that you can get more deeply engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. The League is committed to civil discourse. The candidates have agreed to follow the League protocols for candidate forums, including respecting the time limits for their responses, not engaging in crosstalk, and being mutually respectful, courteous, constructive, and orderly, even when they disagree. The questions we ask will be selected by our screening panel to focus on the issues that seem to generate the most interest. Questions that are similar will be consolidated, and questions that are directed to one candidate or contain a personal attack will be eliminated. Due to time constraints, not all questions can be asked. We invite you to stay after the forum to talk to the candidates. If you haven't already submitted your questions, you can email them to lwvsfc@gmail.com now or at any time during the forum. For those of you who are attending in person, write your questions on the 3x5 note cards that are being distributed. Submit one question per note card, and please write legibly. Hold the card up when finished so our runners can pick it up. Our timekeeper, Mary Shrubin, is sitting in the front. When a candidate has 15 or 30 seconds left, depending on minutes assigned to the question, she will hold up a yellow warning sign, and when your time is up, she will hold up the red stop sign. At that point, we ask that you wind up your response immediately. If not, I will interrupt out of fairness to all. In the interest of time, please save your applause until the end of the forum. Before I introduce the candidates, let me paraphrase the current mission statement of the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. To protect and serve the people of Santa Fe County by enhancing the public safety and welfare of our communities through thoughtful, courteous, and responsive law enforcement endeavors. We will begin with 2-minute opening statements by the candidates and conclude with 1-minute closing statements. We will hear first from candidate Paul Michael Joy, then David J. Webb, and then Michael D. Martinez. Mr. Joy.
All right. Hi there. Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting and everybody here in attendance. So like I think the folks up here with me, my interest in public safety started at a very young age. As a junior in high school, I became one of the first, if not the first, high school student to get certified as an EMT while still in high school. I spent my senior year of high school working as a volunteer firefighter, EMT, on top of all my high school little obligations, and also working as a lifeguard. I went to college at Eastern New Mexico University, where I worked my way through college as a tutor and resident advisor. I got my degree in criminal justice with my minor in psychology, moved to Santa Fe in 2006, and got hired on with the police department pretty quickly after I got here. Started as a cadet and worked my way up through all the ranks, finishing with the last 4 years as chief of police. And there are a number of programs and initiatives that I'm very proud of and I hope to speak to later, but there were some unique challenges I had to deal with initially as chief. One was navigating the department through the aftermath of COVID and what that was going to look like for the rest of us, but also we were behind in a number of areas: staffing, equipment, and technology. And under my leadership, by every metric, we remedied that, and by the time I left as chief, we were the most modern, most professional, most well-staffed and largest department in the history of the department. When I took over as chief, we had 38 vacancies. When I left as chief, we had 3. I retired in December of just this past year because the current sheriff is termed out and he can't run again. And I believe that I am the right person to take this department and this agency into the future and make Santa Fe County safer for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
Hello, everybody, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and Santa Fe New Mexican, as well as the Food Depot. Thank you guys for being here and engaging with us as we try to move Santa Fe County forward into the future. My name is David Webb, and I was born and raised here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I come from generations of policing Santa Fe County. Like Paul said, all of us here, I started at 12 years old. I was a Santa Fe Police Explorer. At the age of 16, while in high school, I became an emergency medical dispatcher with the Santa Fe Regional Communications Center. After graduating, I became a public safety aide with the Santa Fe Police Department. Shortly after that, at 19 years old, I was hired on as a deputy with Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. I lateraled over to the police department in 2022, where I had a very, very, very successful career there at Santa Fe Police, where I led and I got to lead, anyway, every operational and administrative role that the police department has to offer. I also take pride in being able to lead 2 of the biggest technology projects that the Santa Fe Police Department had moved forward. one being the P25 digital radio system, the second one being the Axon reporting. You know, I believe in moving forward with the technology of the future. I have a technology background, and it's just something that I kind of stayed grounded to. Aside from law enforcement, I am deeply rooted in the community. I'm a youth mentor and coach. I coach both basketball and baseball, often simultaneously, which is about to happen here in a few weeks. So not hard to find. I'm always in the community out with the kids. This has also given me the vision, you know, that the community needs to come first. Engaging with our kids is very important. And so as sheriff, you know, I hope to lead with integrity, accountability, and move them forward in technology advancements and putting the community first. We all deserve a safe place to live. I'm a part of this community and I live here. So I just want to do what's best for all of us out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Hello. Thank you all for attending. I appreciate it. All three of us appreciate it to hear what we have in store for the Sheriff's Office if elected. I started my law enforcement career in 1989 with the Espanola City Police Department, which does fall within Santa Fe County. I transferred over to the Sheriff's Office here in Santa Fe in 1993 and then to the City Police Department in 1997. While I was with those agencies, I received several citations and awards for being dedicated to the county and to the city of Santa Fe. In 2004, I came to the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office like the other two members here. I worked my way up through the ranks, starting out as corporal, then sergeant, and finishing up as lieutenant. I have 12 years of supervisory positions and 10 years as administrative lieutenant. During my term as lieutenant, I was in charge of all three patrol divisions, and I also worked for the investigations division, which covers our violent crime, our property crime, crime scene, sex offender, our narcotics, our evidence, and our warrants division. I also was a member of our internal affairs division, where I had to do complaints on officers of the agency. And I was also in charge of, or not in charge, but I also worked with budgets, with staffing, with payroll. I spent 21 years at the Sheriff's Office, and I feel that I'm the most or the best person for the job.
Thank you. Moving on to the first question, the time limit for answering this question will be 1 minute. How do you see the Sheriff's Department working with state and federal officers, most importantly, ICE? We will begin with Mr. Joy.
Okay, so in March of 25, I attended a Know Your Rights forum for the community and the undocumented community to speak about what we were dealing with as a country and also here locally. Now, as chief for them, my big concern was making sure that they felt safe as part of our community. They let everybody know that there's a policy online that dictates how our officers interact with ICE. One, we don't participate in any roundups, will not and do not. But mostly there's only a certain category of crime that which they can even give notification to ICE, and that's to protect the undocumented community. But it was important to me that they knew at the end of the day that our obligation was to them. They're part of our community, we were their agency, and we needed their help in keeping them safe. And it's a fundamental human right that regardless of where you're from or who you are, that you feel safe in your home when you lay your head at night to go to bed. And as Santa Fe County Sheriff, I will continue that policy and belief. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
As sheriff, first and foremost, everybody deserves to feel safe in their community, not just their home. While they're out and about, their families are away, their children, their wives, their grandmothers, grandparents. Everybody deserves to feel safe. Notice how I didn't say it regards where you're from or who you are, right? because everybody deserves to be treated equally. One of the things that I did at the Santa Fe Police Department was when I was in charge of the Special Victims Unit, I made sure that this extended out to our youth as well. Youth, as you can tell, they have a special place in my heart. If we're not doing it for them, then why are we here? I had to make sure that I was getting the whole picture. And so I had to make sure through trauma-informed interviews and getting to know our youth that they could entrust their stories with me, where they're from, and engage in meaningful ways. And as sheriff, I will continue that and lead all department members to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
If elected as sheriff for Santa Fe County, I will be working with other agencies, state police, the city police, tribal agencies, and making sure that our members or our residents are safe. I worked with the sheriff's office when the county made a resolution to keep our unregistered residents safe. And as the sheriff, I will abide by that. I feel that all of our residents should be safe in our community, and we should be making partnerships with them.
Thank you. This next question is a 2-minute question. We will begin with candidate Webb. We've heard the department is considering AI facial recognition software. If you are in favor, tell us how you will use it, especially in regards to citizen privacy. If opposed, tell us why you don't want to invest in this.
Thank you for the question. I did kind of give you guys a little brief insight to my technological background. I am certified in computer forensics. Didn't even know I could do that until I was with the Special Victims Unit and I led the Internet Crimes Against Children Unit. That's when I learned I had a knack for technology. You know, I think one of the biggest things for this is that we are transparent with the public, right? And oftentimes I feel like law enforcement kind of hides things, or maybe not intentionally, but it comes out a little bit too late, probably later when that project is almost going to be deployed. And then it leaves all citizens kind of like, wait, what is happening? What are you deploying, right? And I want to get ahead of that. I would like to use my technological experience and background to explain things as we move forward. Yes, I am for it, but responsibly. So in a nutshell, there are 2 ways that we can go about this. There are open source uses, which means that anything that is gathered is available to all that are on the internet. And then there are closed source, which would mean that we have to go into contract with some of these technology groups. The ownership of that data is probably going to be at the forefront, meaning that the general public can't get that, right? They can't see the information that we're collecting. And then, of course, is policies and procedures and training. We have to ensure that we are doing right by the public and that we are using that information for the purpose that we intend to, and not misuse it. Otherwise, there'll be consequences. I truly believe that responsible technology will aid us in the future, but we can't hide that from the public. We've got to bring it out in the forefront. So with my technology background, I hope to lead us forward, and with the use and all of your input, we can make a better and safer Santa Fe County.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez?
Thank you for the question. Yes, I support AI and facial recognition. There's agencies surrounding us that use that, so I do support it. I've seen the benefits for it, but like Mr. Webb says, there's certain limitations and restrictions that have to be put in place. With the Sheriff's Office, we do develop policy and procedure prior to deploying any type of new technology that's in place. With our LPRs that we currently use, and with anything else that we use, we are transparent. We are transparent with the public, and we do restrict on certain situations.
Thank you. Mr. Joy?
All right, thank you. So we actually looked at this technology at the police department about 1.5 years ago, and what happened was we had some questions. I had some questions in particular about the retention of the data, who owned it, and making sure that it was protected from being sold to third parties or maintained. When those questions could not be satisfactorily answered, we canceled the program. We did not move forward with it. It's important to me that not only are we being responsible with it, but we are responsible with how we do it and who owns the information and how it's used. Similarly, when we did our license plate reader program, we put our own restrictions, we put our own policies in place. We made sure that the policies were publicly available, and we put restrictions on ourselves in guardrails. So how it could be used, how it could not be used. So I'm not opposed to the technology, but we need to make sure that we are being responsible to the public and how we utilize it, and making sure that it's not being abused by not only just us, but the agencies and companies that we might operate with for it.
Thank you. This question is a 1-minute question. Tell us about your experience administering and supervising a large program and team. What would your team say was your greatest strength? And we'll begin with Mr. Martinez.
Well, my experience as a lieutenant, I was the overall commander for our traffic homicide division. That division there is a team of 7 individuals, all with qualifications investigating major injury or death in car crashes. We would get sent to these car crashes, and from beginning to end, we would look at what caused the accident and if it was chargeable. Everybody would say that I was a team player, and I led from the front as well as from the back during me leading this.
Thank you. Candidate Joy?
All right, thank you. So the largest group I ran was the Santa Fe Police Department. And when we talk about what my skills would be, it is my experience and leadership. One of the things that I made sure I did as a leader and the executive for the department was surround myself with people who were going to correct me if I'm wrong and help me get programs done and spread the message to our team to build support throughout the department. And again, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. By the time I left, we had reduced our vacancies from 38 to 3, and we had updated our technology and equipment. So that is my background. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Webb?
Well, I had a little bit more time to think, but the biggest one for me, I think, would be leading the Zozobra operation. So that's the entire Santa Fe Police Department and all other surrounding agencies that are willing to help and support the event. At that time, we had 60, 70,000 people in attendance, and I do pride myself on having the first event that had no arrests and no incidents. I also used my experience with technology and changed a little bit of things. So especially with the SWAT team, I try to make things more adaptable to them while they're out and they're responding to threats that the public may not be aware of. I gave them certain high points and used different imagery so that they could see what they needed to focus on so that the community was safe while they're inside of that field. I also was the first one to implement an emergency evacuation for that. It hadn't been implemented before, and now you can see when you attend that there are lighted exits and there is an actual plan for us all. So thank you.
Thank you. This next question is 1 minute. In light of the sheriff deputy involved shooting over the weekend, what is your philosophy on the use of force generally, and what specific steps will you take to reduce unnecessary use of force? And we're going to begin with Mr. Joy.
All right, that's a big question for just 1 minute. I think, any use of force needs to be evaluated and measured, not just by a supervisor, but also by an agency, and making sure that we're doing any use of force responsibly. My concern with this use of force was this was an individual who was a repeat offender, who had committed other crimes, and for all intents and purposes should not have been out. And again, my focus as chief, and also again as sheriff, is looking at how can we really bring solutions to the repeat offender problem, and looking at helping people who need help, getting diversion for folks who need diversion, and behavioral mental health for folks who need it. But also there are people who are legitimately dangerous, and we owe it to our community to do everything we can to make sure that they stay behind bars and separated from society.
Thank you. Mr. Webb?
Thank you. Regarding use of force, this starts with trust from the public, and we need to be more transparent, right? So the way I see this is, as sheriff, training and policies are huge. I am a huge advocate for scenario-based training, so that way when real-life situations come to these deputies, they react in the way that they were trained. And I want to make sure that the policies are best practice, not just taken from another agency out of state, reworded to say Santa Fe County, and then deployed out to the sheriff's office. I want meaningful policies. I want your input. And I think that the public should be aware of what policies we're changing. And when we say modernize policies, I'm talking true intention, right? From the policy number 1 all the way to the end. So again, training and policies is big for me. You know, and supporting the deputies. I think one of the things that I would like to implement is being more transparent up front when there is an officer-involved shooting, and giving more information.
Thank you. And Mr. Martinez?
Well, excessive force or force issues with the sheriff's office were very transparent as it is already. I was there for 21 years, and I don't think anybody ever questioned the sheriff's office that I'm aware of with this incident that just happened with the deputy. First, I'm glad that he's okay. Secondly, this individual was a bad individual that was out on the street. So I think we need to work with the courts and with the district attorney's office more to get these repeat offenders off the street and get the help that other people need. That way crime and force is mitigated.
Thank you. This is a 1-minute question. How can your office lower gun violence in Santa Fe County, and how would you implement the red flag law? And we'll begin with Mr. Webb.
You said 1 minute?
I know.
Okay.
Wait a minute, can we change this to 2 minutes?
Can we?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
we
that-
can.
That's a big one. Okay, thank you for that. All right, so I'll address the first portion. How are we going to reduce it? And I think that's partnerships, right? We have to be involved. We have to engage with our youth. You know, I was lucky enough to grow up in law enforcement and come from generations. I've seen how law enforcement has evolved. My father was a DARE officer, so I was the DARE officer's kid. Everybody knew he had the cool Corvette, right? And that's when law enforcement was engaged. And now you see law enforcement, you don't even know who they are. They don't stop, they don't engage in youth activities. And I want to get back to that. So first and foremost is engagement and letting the youth know that that you can be trusted, your agency can be trusted. And then letting them know through awareness and opportunity within the community how we can be better with firearms, right? How we could feel more safe. Secondly to that, in the second part, red flag is perfect for scenario-based training. I am in touch with the deputies for Santa Fe County, a lot of them, and they don't have too many of them. They only recall a few times that they've actually had to implement that red flag law. And so again, with scenario-based training, I think this is best. We can make sure that those deputies are confident, they understand the procedures, what documentation needs to be there, and what thresholds they have to meet in order to take that firearm. I do believe that that is a good law that is on the books. It is to protect people, and I think that we need to exercise that law just a little bit more. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
I actually met with the Master's Commission students at the community college a couple of weeks ago. And that was one of the questions that they brought up, gun violence with the youth. And it was a valid question. And I told them that if elected, we would work together, the youth and law enforcement, to try and bridge that gap. We have gotten away from communicating with our partners out in the community. And if we stop investing in our residents or in the youth, you're going to see crime, and we have seen crime go up. But if we start investing in our youth and make sure that we mentor them, the investment will come back 100-fold. We'll see crime and gun violence go down. Now it's the responsibility of parents and gun owners to keep their guns safe. I know that we have an uptick in burglaries here in the area, and we can't solve all gun theft. But if you can secure your weapons better, then that'll be a lot harder for the youth to get a hold of guns, and our gun violence will go down. As far as the red flag law goes, yes, at the sheriff's office, it wasn't used very often. It was a rather new law, but back while I was there, only certain individuals could petition the courts for TRO, or a restraining order. But this past legislation, law enforcement was also included into who can petition. So I think petitions will go up. And as far as securing those, I think we'll need a bigger facility at the sheriff's office, because our gun lockup was already pretty full while I was in charge of the Criminal Investigations Division. So we would have to get with County Commission to make a bigger facility to hold those.
Thank you. Mr. Joy.
Okay, so the Santa Fe Police Department, we were one of the first agencies in the state to successfully get a red flag approved and get get that done successfully. I believe it is part of a successful or responsible gun ownership. I was also involved as a chief to work with the county to get the Shot Spotter program off the ground in the city to gunshot detection, and which will help with response and faster response. But gun violence is a community problem, and it goes beyond what just law enforcement can do. And it does require a partnership with people who, not just the schools, but also folks in the behavioral health area, to work with our teens and our youth to try to divert them away and get them help and resources to where they don't feel that gun violence is what they need to resort to. And it is a community safety issue, not just a law enforcement issue. So, thank you.
Thank you. And this again is a 1-minute question. How would you improve conditions and programs at the county jail so that the inmates have a chance at rehabilitation? And we'll begin with Mr. Martinez.
Well, working with the sheriff's office, the jail's a totally different entity. It's not controlled by the sheriff's office. But as sheriff, I would have input with the county commission to see what we could implement and have a voice there, letting them know that we're taking in repeat offenders and people that may be suffering from some type of mental health crisis. But as far as us being directly involved, that would be up to the warden and the deputy warden at the jail.
Thank you. Mr. Joy?
Okay, yes. That does not fall under the purview of the sheriff necessarily, but I think partnering with the jail and supporting and advocating for more support for people who are released to get them into other services. I think that's part of diversion. I think that's part of bringing down recidivism for folks who are in the criminal element, and seeing things like Urban Alchemy down in the city, who hires folks who have criminal backgrounds and giving them another chance at a successful life, and trying to make not just themselves better, but putting them in a position to help people around them. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that and expansion of programs like that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb?
Okay, I think we've stated pretty well that that's not the responsibility of the sheriff's office. This falls back on partnerships, partnering with the warden and jail staff and seeing what concerns they have, where are their voids, where are we lacking, so that we can come together to address these things. And then partnering with people in the community and different groups within the community to make sure that we fill those voids. One thing I feel law enforcement is not, the best at is measuring our successes or our failures. And, when we go into this, understanding where those gaps are, and then having some goal that is measurable, so that way we can truly show the public, are we making a difference? Are we filling those gaps, or are we not? And then being honest with the public on our efforts. So partnerships, to me, community groups, I think attacking this all together with your input is how we should address this.
Thank you. A 1-minute question. What additional steps might be taken to reduce the incidence of drunk driving? And we're going to begin with Mr. Joy.
Okay, so I think there's a lot there in that question. Again, in a minute, it's going to be difficult. I think it's not, we're at the point that education is, there's no lack of education around drunk driving and deterring drunk driving. I think offering more services and mandating folks engage in those services. I think we need to look at expansion of required breathalyzers in vehicles and enforcement. We have folks who are on their 4th, 5th, 6th X number of DWI. At what point do we get to actually, again, keep them behind bars and hold them to account and give them real consequences for the choices and actions that they're making? So again, where folks can get help and there's an option for diversion and counseling and assistance, we need to do everything that we can to give them those resources. But for the folks who are unwilling to engage in that, we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to hold them accountable and keep them behind bars. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
Again, this will be hard in 1 minute. With my finger on the pulse here with the sheriff's office, a lot of this has to do with enforcement. And right now, the sheriff's office has tried. They reinstated their DWI unit with 2 deputies. One deputy now is on FMLA, and the other one has resigned and left the agency. So there's no DWI units. There's no enforcement. This is just a patrol issue now. And so as sheriff, it's looking at meaningful ways to take part in curbing this statistic. And again, it comes back to measurable options. Santa Fe County itself has a DWI program, and we're not even leveraging that program so that we can make a difference out here. Of course, it comes to prosecution, right? And making sure that our cases are sealed and our timelines from our DA are followed, and we're not dismissing things and then trying to readdress it at a later time. So it is a lot to answer in 1 minute. I do have a plan to make sure that we make a robust DWI unit and start with enforcement.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
It comes to staffing there at the sheriff's office. We did, after COVID, lose our DWI unit, and when I retired back in August, we were trying to get that DWI unit back in place. And once it got started in January, I think everybody saw in the newspaper that the arrests for DWI offenders was up within the county. And it's not about putting people in jail, but it's about making our roads safer. So one thing I would do as sheriff is I would partnership with the DA's office and make sure that people are accountable for their actions. We do see people with 4, 5, 6 DWIs, and they never are held accountable. So if we get with the DA's office to prosecute these cases, maybe we would make a difference there.
Thank you. Again, a 1 minute question. Given your office's constraints, how will you make your office effective at recruiting, training, team building, and morale? And we're going to begin with Mr. Webb.
This starts with effective leadership. I think if the deputies are excited about coming to work, they feel supported, they feel that they have, the training and the leadership behind them, they're going to want to come to work. And they're going to stay at that agency and not look for other opportunities. So that would address some of the recruitment. Of course, we're going to have the issues with trying to stay competitive, making sure that our benefits package matches, right? Because this is where we start to steal from other agencies or borrow, because a lot of these officers, they work on these bonuses. That's how Santa Fe Police did it. A $15,000 sign-on bonus, they fill their ranks, right? And I think we need more than that to address the training portion. I have a huge plan for that, and that starts with the training that is scenario-based, working those in with policies and not making it where it's just, 1 week everybody go into in-service. They hate it. Ask them. They don't pay attention. They don't want to be there, right? I want to implement a different style of training where it is more effective, where we train every day. A training division implements different scenario-based trainings, and it may be an hour, 2 hours on their shift, 30 minutes, whatever that is, and then they go back out onto the street so we can accomplish this in a better way.
Thank you. Mr. Joy.
Oh, backward.
All right.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I knew it.
Lost on the grid over here. It was Mr. Martinez. I see you. You understand these things.
Effective leadership is a true answer to the sheriff's office. Been there for 21 years. I've seen different administrations there at the sheriff's office, and the best administration that I worked for is with Benji Montano. He was a leader from the front and a leader in the back. Meaning he was always on the street, but administratively he was always there teaching his deputies or his administration how they should be future leaders. So if you are there and if you're leading from the front and from the rear, you're going to have effective deputies who are going to want to go out there and make a difference. You make them look good. If they're supported, they're going to make you look good. So effective leadership is the best thing that I can say, and I can say that because I've been there. I was always out on the street. I was always responding to calls, and you'd be amazed at how many times the deputies would just acknowledge you being there as being the best, and other agencies also would take notice to that. So leadership, as far as recruitment and retention, that's always going to be a problem. I've been in law enforcement for 31 years, and we've always seen that. But if you support your deputies and make them feel valued or treat them like if they're valued, then you won't have issues later on.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Joy.
Okay, so again, at the city, I reduced our vacancies from 38 to 3 out of 169. And pay was important, for sure, but it wasn't the only factor. A big part of this was equipment and training and making sure that they had a voice, the officers had a voice in what happened to their department. And we gave them opportunities to expand in themselves professionally and personally, and we gave them opportunities for growth. But also being fair and transparent as the leadership of the organization to make sure that they knew that they're supported, again, by me and their community, and making sure that I, as the department head and the executive, is dealing with the community and engaging with the community to let them know what our guys are seeing out there and what they're dealing with, and making sure that they're supporting our team as well. Yeah, it's a complicated issue that we've dealt with for years in every agency, but again, a proven track record of success in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for a 2-minute question. What is the biggest problem in the Sheriff's Department that you would want to address right away? And we're going to begin with Mr. Martinez.
The biggest problem there at the sheriff's office, besides staffing, is the leadership. I say that because I was part of the leadership. And if you're not allowed to grow, if you're not allowed to promote your deputies, if you're not allowed to mentor them, your morale goes down. That's when you have deputies leaving for other agencies, It's not really about the benefits because I've seen deputies leave to smaller agencies or bigger agencies with less benefits just because they'd be happier. So if we invest in our deputies, and not only in our deputies, but our civilian staff, you're going to see the morale and everybody being more productive with the sheriff's office.
Thank you. And Mr. Joy?
Okay, yeah. So the biggest problem that needs to be addressed is staffing. That's the answer to most of the questions, but not just having the staffing in place, but having the right staffing in the right places. And are we using them to the best of our ability in the most efficient and effective way to serve the community? And that can be not just sworn, but also our civilian staffing. Are we doing everything we can to make sure that our deputies that are doing the work are supported and doing it in an efficient way? And what can we offload to our civilian staff as well to help out with that? So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Webb?
Staffing. And, I think with this, we need to take a different look. A lot of times our agencies, whether it be Santa Fe Police, Santa Fe County, we're looking at staffing studies surrounding what we're responding to now, instead of looking at where can we do better, right? Where can we be more available so that we can address, parts of this community that aren't being addressed. Open space is one of them. Right, we've seen this in the paper time and time again. How many people are we finding out in Diablo Canyon? How can we continue to just allow this to be open space for criminal activity? We need to address things at the forefront. Your voice needs to be heard. We need a leader that is there that can look at things like that to address it through staffing. And that comes along with a lot of things. That comes along with financial, right? We need to figure out where these funds are going to come from. Our partnerships in the community, who's going to help us get there? And then lastly is supporting our deputies and our administrative staff. Just because I am the, leader or the sheriff doesn't mean that the idea has to come from me. A lot of times the staff, they know, they're the ones that are out there, and they're going to have resolution. They might give us the best idea on how we're going to address it. And so including the deputies in that and giving them meaningful, choices to be there and voices so that I can be that soundboard for them and push that forward. And again, measuring, am I doing this right? And then reporting back to you all to say, we've tried this is where we're at, and that didn't work. Does the community have input? And being kind of vulnerable in that moment to say, even as the sheriff, we failed at that, and we're going to do better and promise to do better by you. So I think effective leadership is huge in that aspect. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Martinez?
I started this up.
Oh, he did. Oh dear, I am again lost completely. Have all three of you address this question? I'm sitting here trying to do these as well. Mr. Joy, I feel that you have not yet addressed this question. You're holding the microphone. Okay, then we are good to go. And we started with you, 2, 3. So we will now start with Mr. Joy on this actual 1-minute question, I think, unless it's more complex. Does the department have drones, and how are they utilized? And there's also a big thank you here.
All right, thank you. Yes, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office does have drones. I think what we've seen, and again, I'm referencing the police department because obviously that's my background. What we have been doing with the Santa Fe Police Department is expanding and growing that program that I'd like to expand out to the county as well. Looking at also drones as first responder, which we've seen around the country. Bernalillo County is also using this program, but I think it goes a long way in not just officer response as far as timeliness, but also safety for the people that we're responding to and the safety of the deputies. So yes, they do, and I hope to expand it and grow it.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
Thank you for that. Yes, they have drones. And speaking to the deputies, they would like to see that change just a little bit. The county is not the city; it's rural, right? And we have various communities in the county, and so that drone response would be quite far if we're letting it go from Edgewood to Espanola. But what the deputies are asking for is that maybe they have drones on every shift with an operator, and so that's something that I would like to look at, so that they can utilize on each shift and have an operator, as well as having an effective policy. Right now, there's a little bit of confusion with that policy when it can be deployed and how it can be deployed. So strengthening that policy, again, training, and then scenario-based training, so the deputies are well aware of how to use it in their different communities as a first responder.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, I was the first lieutenant to request drones with the sheriff's office. I was in criminal investigations then, and we got 2 drones, one for the sex offender unit and one for investigations, as we needed to map out different places. That grew, not so much, but it did grow. I have a plan with the sheriff's office to where we do get them on all patrol divisions. On each side, at least 2, so there would be 4 on each patrol division, and our warrants division, and our investigations division, and also with our traffic homicide bureau. We would utilize those with search and rescue. We have a lot of people in the county that suffer from dementia or go hiking up in the mountains and they get lost, so they could be quick deploy instead of waiting for state police to respond. We could also use them for officer response.
Thank you. And this question is 1 minute. What are current gang issues in Santa Fe County, and how will the sheriff address these? We're beginning with Mr. Webb.
Thank you for that. Oh, man. Evolution of law enforcement. Let's just say this. When I first started, there was a gang unit, and there was a process for documentation so that we can, have them identified, know their connections and where they stand, where their areas were. There was a lot of information about gang members, and it since went away. We don't have that anymore. There's not really a way to identify them, and I think starting back grassroots and trying to figure this out on how we actually positively identify a gang member is where we start. And then, getting the deputies well aware of this information and passing along information to other agencies is huge. That's how we're gonna attack criminal activity, not just in our jurisdiction, but in others. Partnering with our tribal entities, sovereign nations, and other agencies, right? We have other counties, state police, and local jurisdictions that we collide with in Santa Fe County, and we need to share that information.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Well, when I moved up here to Santa Fe County and to the Santa Fe City Police Department, we did have a gang unit back then. We used to validate all of our gang members by photographing them, by taking all their monikers down and putting them inside of a state database. We have gotten away from that. For some reason, we just weren't interested in that, and I think that's why our violence has gone up. As sheriff, I would implement that back again to where we do have gang cards. We would validate them, and we would start putting them back into the system. That way, if we come across somebody that we're looking for, they're easy accessible. Also, the gangs are different now. They don't go by the Crips, or they don't go by West Side. They have different monikers or different gang names where they stay low, and they'll go by just car clubs now, or maybe graffiti clubs instead of the old-fashioned gang names.
Thank you. Mr. Joy.
Okay, so when I was a detective, I worked in violent crimes and our street crimes unit, and I engaged with gang activity often, and doing all the things that these other gentlemen just discussed. What we've also learned over time, and a program that I did as a deputy chief, was, again, gang violence and youth violence is a community problem. It's more than just what law enforcement can do alone, and it shouldn't just try to handle it alone. And it involves partnering with our community programs. As a deputy chief, we worked with YouthWorks and Gerard's House and a few other programs to try to intervene early and give these kids somewhere else to divert to, and some they just needed work, so we got them jobs. They wanted to finish school, so we got them into a GED program, and we had some success with that. We couldn't get everybody, but we got a few, and that was great. So I think treating it like the community problem that it is, and partnering with other resources and agencies to help is how we deal with this. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a 2-minute question. How can the Sheriff's Department help alleviate the problem of unhoused persons encampments, and does the sheriff have a role in this issue? And we're going to begin with Mr. Martinez.
The sheriff's office does have a role. Like it's been mentioned tonight, it's a community problem. When I was in criminal investigations, we did do operations here in the city, locating unhoused cities underneath bridges in undeveloped areas of the city, and also out in the county. You'd be amazed at how many actual cities there are underneath the bridges here in town. What we would do is we would go on out and locate these cities and make contact with the unhoused people, seeing if they needed help with either drugs, getting them off drugs, or getting them the help that they need, housing or anything else. There's a lot of programs here in the county that we can use, and they're underused. And with the sheriff's office, we would work hand in hand with the city police department and state police in attacking these housing developments that are going up out in the county and in the city, and to see if we can help out the unhoused.
Thank you. And Mr. Joy.
Okay. This really is a complex issue, and there's so many factors around the unhoused population. Law enforcement, again, this is a community problem, and law enforcement really should have a low involvement in this, but needs to be partnering with these other agencies and other folks to offer help and assistance. One of the things I was hoping to talk about it, but one of the things that I built out as a deputy chief and supported as chief was the alternative response unit. That was my baby. And we saw a lot of success with that program, and where it's a caseworker, a medic, and a police officer all riding together to respond to calls for service where law enforcement is not the most appropriate entity to be handling it. And we saw a lot of success with it. And we've been, I think, growing that and making that a county program and a county initiative is important and going a long way in getting folks help and services away from law enforcement and the efforts there. Thank you.
Thank you. And
2 minutes,
here
right?
we go again. Mr. Webb.
2 minutes?
Yes, 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So let's just this is very complex, and one of the ways that I see us addressing this is through partnerships. I feel like we have a lot of entities that care, and they are trying to deploy different resources, but they're not working together. And law enforcement is stuck with having to respond and be that kind of jack of all trades. Now, I've said it before, the county is not the city, right? And so though the ARU unit was great, and I worked alongside the founder, Andres Mercado, from the fire department with the ARU, the county is different. We have different communities, and again, it's rural. And in speaking to the deputies, they would like more guidance on what is available to them while they're out on patrol when they come into contact with somebody that is suffering from mental illness or drug addiction. And again, that comes back to training, right? Scenario-based training and partnerships. Santa Fe County is doing great. They have some programs that are available right now, and again, maybe underused, but there's a regional youth facility that's being built by Santa Fe County. La Sala is out there from Santa Fe County, and we need to direct the deputies on how to better use that. We do have to partner with Santa Fe Police Department and offer our services to aid and help them, because the city does fall in the county, but jurisdictionally that is their responsibility, and it's up to them to reach out to us and ask for meaningful help, something that, again, we can measure. What do you need within the city so the sheriff's office can deploy resources, measure against it, and then report back to you? This is what we did in conjunction with the city, and this is what we gathered or what we solved. And again, that's partnership. So maybe even partnering with the mayor's office, governor, and trying to get a top-down approach would better serve Santa Fe County and all of its citizens.
Thank you. And this is a 1-minute question. What was your biggest professional mistake, and what did you learn from it? And we'll begin with Mr. Joy.
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Yes. What was your biggest professional mistake, and what did you learn from it? And we won't start timing until the candidate begins to speak.
Okay, this might be unpopular, but all right. So when I was an investigations lieutenant the first time, I was one of the commanders over with the LEAD program. And I was a big advocate for the LEAD program, and I still think if done well, it can be a really good program. But I think one of the mistakes that we made in its initial iteration was it was too siloed between the stakeholders who were operating the program. And I think to fix that, and we tried to do it with different iterations with Thrive, and then later on I kind of adopted it into ARU to make it more incumbent on the officer who's handling the individual to guide and lead, as opposed to the initial iteration where it required, all right, you're gonna go deal with this caseworker, but this caseworker is gonna talk to the prosecutor, and the caseworker and the prosecutor aren't talking to the officer, so they would get referred to the program and we had no idea what happened with that person. So there we go.
Thank you.
Wow, I might cry on this one. This one's kind of meaningful. So I was in charge of the Special Victims Unit, and I thought I had it down. Like, my unit was functioning on all 8 cylinders, and we were effectively solving crime and prosecuting, and I was feeling very, very great. At the time, we had a case where a child was abused, and I had my protocols and policies in place that I had just rewritten. I had them outsourced. We were at Solace Crisis Treatment Center. Everything was going correctly. I noticed while the child was in my office that he was not wanting to sit down, and so I was trying to comfort the child, but I royally messed up. I didn't see any signs of physical abuse, and so I was getting things in place, and that child had a major laceration that I was unaware of, and that's why he didn't sit. And once I realized it, that's why I said I might cry. Like, it hurt me bad, so that was my worst one.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
This is probably the toughest question of them all. And probably the biggest mistake that I've had being a part of the sheriff's office and working on patrol. I had a car stopped one afternoon there on 599 when it was still city or county jurisdiction. A call came on out of a motor vehicle crash just up the street from where I was at. And I told our dispatch that I'd be responding to that call since I was the closest one. When I got there, I drove up to a rollover, and the single occupant, a female, was kind of stuck underneath, and she was talking to me. As she was talking to me, I was trying to calm her down and trying to tell her that help was on the way. Well, I didn't get her that help, and we couldn't lift up the car, me and another deputy and some bystanders, and she landed up passing away.
Thank you. This is a 1-minute question. Explain what kind of civilian oversight is necessary for the sheriff's office, and we will start with Mr. Webb.
You know, I want to be totally involved with the community. And so anything that I do as the sheriff, I want the community to be aware of, right? And giving them access to things that may be changing, things that I would like to implement, policies, when we move them forward and modernizing and how we do things. I want your input. I want you guys to know exactly what we are doing and not roll it out as some sort of surprise. So as far as oversight, I want you to oversee all of it. And I want you to grade me. I really want your feedback, and you tell me what meaningful things that I have helped with and where I'm failing, so that I can better myself and better our response as a sheriff's office, right? You're the one, I'm hoping here to gain your trust and your vote and be hired by you. So I want your oversight in everything that I do, meaningful or not, or meaningful to me to be better to you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Oversight might be changed to transparent. I think what we need is better transparency or modern transparency. Something that I want to do at the sheriff's office, we have what we call online hot sheets, where we let the community know what's going on each shift with the sheriff's office. And what I would like to do is change that to a video hot sheet program. A lot of our communities up north or down south may not know how to read. So I would like to have a video, so that way it's like watching TV. And that way they know how to get involved if they need to get involved. And if they see somewhere where we need a brush up in how we're doing things, we can learn that way. As far as policy goes, the Association of Counties as a whole with the state are making new policies for all counties together. That way we're following the same policies and procedures.
Thank you. And Mr. Joy.
Okay, so one of the benefits of sheriff is that he is elected by the people, so he's accountable to the people. As chief, I was appointed, so there's other extra levels of bureaucracy that I had to deal with. But one of the things that we did, again, that I would support as sheriff, is we met every month with the public public safety committee. I think doing something like that at the county level would be a good thing. With the commissioners, if they were to establish something like that. When we talk about transparency, we not only updated our policies, but we put them online so that everybody could see the rules and how we operated, and we're accountable to the public. We also made a complaint process online easier, so people could access online. If they have an issue with an officer and they want to make a complaint, they don't have to come to the station. They can go online and fill out a form, email it. It went directly to the internal affairs investigators and the chief. That's a simple fix that I think the county would be willing to accept and would be beneficial. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joy. So now we have a 2-minute question. What are your top 3 personal values? And we will begin with Mr. Martinez.
Leadership, and I'll go into that a little bit. At the sheriff's office, being a command lieutenant for 9 years, almost 10 years actually, you learn to lead from the front and from the back. And I was proud of myself for standing up to some bad decisions that were made with additional leadership there at the sheriff's office. And I was able to step in and change some decisions that were being made on termination to where there was some jobs saved because of those bad decisions. Another thing is honesty. You have to be honest with your deputies if you can, or if you can't do things. With your administration, you have to be honest, even though you might be on the outside looking in, getting them mad at you. And you have to be honest with the community. And letting them know what's happening within the sheriff's office or what's happening with certain incidents involving the sheriff's office. And the last is integrity. If you don't have integrity, you don't have anything else. So you have to rely on those three things, and those are my best.
Thank you. Mr. Joy.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've always prided myself on was I will not be outworked. When I started with the police department, I started as a cadet. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't from here, and I had to work. I worked very hard to get to where I was, to where I made it to chief. Related to that was, when we talk about leadership, it was being transparent in that leadership to the folks above you and the folks below you, the people that you work for and the people that work for you, and making sure that you are doing everything you can to support the vision of the institution, in this case it'd be the sheriff's office, but also supporting the community and engaging with the community. And the third was, I've always been a good student. I pride myself on that. It benefits me when other people, not just in the community, people that we work with, feel that they know that they can correct me and educate me and help me do better, and not just myself, but the work that we do. So there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
I jotted down 3 here: leadership, integrity, and community. And the reason I wrote those down is because I was trying to describe how I live every day. And so, you know, being involved with the youth, I've done this for over 15 years. And my son is sitting here, and I have kids that are graduating with him that I coached as children. And they still call me coach, right? And then now they're joking, future sheriff, right? And I really lean on having core values, you know, because it's not only how you lead an agency, but it's how you live your life every day, right? And it's how you put your best foot forward. And so, you know, I think effective leadership and you know, getting these deputies and the community, all of us together, right? Having integrity in what we do and supporting one another. All we want to do is live and enjoy our community and be safe, right? And having these core values in a leader like a sheriff, I think is only going to, you know, be great for our community and make sure that we are all partnered in here and we're responsible with what we're doing. I live this every day. I lead our youth. I coach 2 sports at once. I'm kind of thinking about my game right now because my team is playing. So excuse me, I hope they're winning, right? And, you know, even at a young age, my other son is right there. He's in 4th grade. And some of the kids on his team, they're now asking, well, how do you become sheriff? What's the difference between a sheriff and a chief? What's the difference between the city and the county, right? And they're engaged. They want to know. They're asking questions. And I think having, you know, that opportunity to lead and be sheriff and give back to my community, which I do every single day, is just another, you know, foundational block for me. And so those things are huge for me, as those 3.
Thank you. And this is going to be our last question. 1 minute. Domestic violence remains an ongoing critical safety issue for both our community and our law enforcement officers. What do you see as the greatest need the Sheriff's Department, I guess, has to improve officers' responses? And we will begin with Mr. Joy.
Okay. So yeah, again, this is where outreach and working with our partners in the advocacy world and the behavioral health world is important. One of the things that I did as chief was we worked with the CVRC, Crime Victims Reparation Commission, to get a staff at the police department who was an advocate, who would review all of our domestic violence cases and do lethality assessments, give feedback to the officers, what are we missing, who's going to go follow up with that survivor and try to get them into services. That helps with prosecution, that helps with making sure that they're getting the services that they need to hopefully, again, the goal is to not have repeat offenders in this world and keep our survivors safe and those families safe. But again, it requires an expansion beyond law enforcement and partnering with people who are experts in these fields to help us do it better.
Thank you. Mr. Webb.
I think, we definitely need partnerships. And one of the things, the deputies have expressed to me is having resources. They're the ones that, from 8 to 5, we might have resources, but after 5, what happens? And so they're the ones that are there trying to deal with the situation and resource victims. And it kind of makes it hard. It makes it a little bit difficult when you're the sole person that's responsible for that. And I think, as sheriff, giving them opportunity to have a resource such as repeat offenders, lethality assessments, and having a true DV unit, domestic violence unit, that partners with the district attorney's office, whether that be with investigations or a separate unit itself, it's something that we need to look at, because all of us deserve to feel safe, right? And a lot of times what we've seen through policing itself is that our victims go back to what is comfortable and what's known, whether they're suffering from domestic violence or not. That might be their only safe place. And so we need a more meaningful connection with them so that we can better resource them.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
At the sheriff's office, we saw domestic violence on an everyday basis, and being that the county is so big and staffing is so small, we did rely on staffing from other agencies. We had a crisis team that would respond. All it would take is a phone call, and they would respond to your location. They would counsel the victims on these incidents. But what I did see is that team was small. And if they called in sick or whatever, you didn't have anybody for that night. What we do need to do is partnership with them and maybe with the county to hire additional crisis team members. That way we have enough to cover for every incident that we do have in the county.
Thank you. We will now move to the candidates' 1-minute closing statements in reverse order from their opening statements. So, Mr. Martinez.
I thank you again for everybody attending. This is my first time in a forum, kind of nervous. I'm not a politician. I haven't run before, so you guys are my first crowd. But I feel that I'm the best person for the sheriff's office because I came from the sheriff's office. I have 31 years of total experience in law enforcement, 21 years there at the sheriff's office itself, 12 years as a supervisor, and 9 years as an administrative lieutenant. So I feel that I'm the best person because I was that leader out there, leading from the front and bossing from the back. And I had the respect from the deputies. I still have the respect from the deputies. So I would thank you for voting for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Webb?
Thank you. Thank you all for being here and hearing us out and engaging with us that are trying to move, forward with our community. We all want to feel safe. We all want to enjoy our communities. We all want to be prideful in our community. That means a lot, right? I'm born and raised here. I'm from here. I engage here. I'm totally embedded in this community, and I just want to do better. I want to push the sheriff's office to a point that, we are totally engaged with all the communities in Santa Fe County, not just one. Making sure that our partnerships with other agencies are strong, we're connected, we understand what each of us expect of one another. And with my experience in leading some of the biggest technology projects with the city of Santa Fe and my technological background, I feel like I'm the best one for this. I'm deeply rooted in the community, and I just ask for your trust. Get to know me, engage with me, and if you see me best fit, I would respect you and encourage you to vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Joy?
Okay. So at this time in the history of our county and the history of this agency, experience matters. I have tested experienced leadership with a larger, busier agency. There's no learning curve in leadership for me here. I've already been doing this. The vision here is not just to make Santa Fe safer. It's to bring a holistic approach to public safety and make Santa Fe not just a safer county, but an example of what public safety looks like when it's done well and it's done right. And that's what I bring to the table here as sheriff. So thank you.
Thank you. That concludes this evening's Santa Fe County Candidate Forum. I want to thank Bill Church, the editor, and Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. Henry Outside of Lopez Integrated Technologies for broadcasting the forum. It will be available for future streaming on the New Mexicans website, sfnewmexican.com, and on our website, lwvsfc.org. I also want to thank the Food Depot for providing this excellent venue for the candidate forums free of charge to the League, and I would like to thank Claudia Hernandez for her translation services. For more information on election and the candidates, read the League's voter guide. It's available at our website, lwvsfc.org, and vote411.org. We want to remind you that if your question was not asked, you're welcome to stay after the forum to talk to the candidates. For those of you who are watching online, if you have questions for the candidates, go to vote411.org for the candidates' contact information. Be sure to make your voice heard in this election by voting early or absentee or at the polls on June 2nd. Please join me in thanking the candidates for their participation. And good night.